normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
We got big news, ladies and gentlemen. House votes to formalize Republican impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. I love how they have to put Republican, but technically it would just be the impeachment inquiry because the Republicans have the majority. The 221 to 212 party line vote opens a door for the GOP to get more evidence about schemes that have seen the Biden family get millions from countries including China, Ukraine, Romania. And the Bidens will now have more of their bank records, mortgage details, emails, text messages, and mobile phones subpoenaed, along with anything else Congress wants to see. Since the start of 23, Republicans have been investigating Joe Biden over his alleged connections to his son Hunter's extremely lucrative multi-million-dollar influence peddling scheme spanning decades. With a formal impeachment inquiry vote, Republicans say the White House can no longer stonewall them for requested documents and depositions, but top GOP leaders have argued it wasn't necessary. You do not need a full vote of the House to do an impeachment inquiry to do the investigation that we're constitutionally obligated to do, GOP whip Tom Emmer told the Daily Mail ahead of the vote. But this is basically showing the Republican Party is investigating Joe Biden. It is formalized. They will have more powers. And this is step one. This is what we kept arguing about. They would say like, oh, we're gonna the impeachment inquiry is coming. It's coming. We're like, yeah. And so the story was Kevin McCarthy vows to hold inquiry into whether or not there should be a vote on whether or not there should be an impeachment inquiry. And now Kevin McCarthy's gone. And now they've finally formalized the impeachment inquiry process. So I'll explain it in non-political terms. They have formally launched a criminal investigation into Joe Biden. Should they find a preponderance of evidence, they will launch an impeachment, also known as an indictment, or in other words, an indictment. The indictment leads to a trial. And should Biden be convicted, that will be the conviction in impeachment and the removal from office. I don't believe that's very likely, but this is the criminal investigation phase of Joe Biden's impeachment process.
I've been sensing it, man. When Hunter stood in front of, was that this morning or yesterday morning? I think, morning. And just refused to answer. He made a statement and then left. And then did he leave like he avoided his trial? And
I will probably have a different opinion on that. And I hate when Republicans put me in these kind of positions of like, I'm going to have to defend Hunter Biden. I'm not defending him, but he wanted it to be a public hearing from the way I hear it. You know what? If Congress ever hauled my butt in for anything, I'd be like, I want this shit public. Like, I just really like the idea that for whatever reason they didn't want to have public. I understand he's going to grandstand. He's going to try to make his point, his views, etc. But I think it's fair to say, yeah, if I'm going to be hauled in front of Congress, I want it to be public. I think that's a fair statement. I think that's a fair stance. So why can't the Republicans say, hey, you know what? We can handle our own PR for this. We'll let him come in and say what he wants to say, and we'll refute it live in front of the public.
I'll be open to that. But so he refused to do it unless it's public, and they're like, hey, that violates the rules. You have to do it.
It's not a violation of rules. It's a violation of what they wanted.
It was this on top of Joe Biden answering reporters' questions. They're like, hey, what's up with these business dealings? And he's like, you're lying. You're all lying. And I'm like, oh, this is coming, man. I just saw this. This feels like it's been coming. I don't think anybody wants him to run as president, and he won't let go.
Oh, I do. I want him to run.
Yeah.
I'm all for Biden.
I made Biden Fetterman t-shirts. I want Fetterman to be the VP on his ticket there because, obviously,
got a lot of karma.
Obviously it's a no-brainer. But not just that, but because clearly he is sticking to his guns. He's saying, I'm not leaving. Even a couple of weeks ago, the Speaker of the House said, there's nothing to really investigate Joe Biden on. And a lot of people are saying, well, that's kind of strategic right before this election cycle, because if we do impeach him, if we do investigate him, this might potentially make him not be able to run for the presidency of the United States. Is this going to be something that's going to be happening now with this impeachment? Why is there a sudden shift in Congress?
They have no spine. There's no shift. It's a different excuse. They just don't have to go through with it.
No, they need to get rid of Biden. This is not good for Trump.
Right. Oh, yeah, right.
The question is, how do you remove Joe Biden? If Joe Biden gets impeached, convicted, and then they criminally convict Donald Trump, they will say, we've been impartial the whole time. Joe Biden went down for corruption and Donald Trump, and now we have Newsom v. DeSantis. And you know who wins that election? Newsom.
Unfortunately, you are correct.
Why do you think it's just going to be DeSantis?
Well,
excuse me.
Well, I mean, he's.
It could be even worse.
I mean,
I'm being hopeful when I say that.
Newsom, Nikki Haley. Who do you vote for?
No, I vote
Newsom.
for Haley over that.
Really?
Come
Oh,
on.
I'm all Newsom.
Rechtenwald or
I mean, look, I'm not saying I would enjoy that vote. Why did you pick such a terrible
one?
option?
Nikki.
I mean, that's usually the election cycle in America.
Yeah.
Turd sandwich or
No, but I
what
was
the other one?
excited to at least
Giant
vote for
douche?
Nick.
The
Yeah.
worst of those is that I think Nikki Haley would get us into war with Iran, whereas Gavin would capitulate to the financial.
He would get us
servitude
into
of the
war with
CCP.
ourselves.
Yeah.
He would spark a civil war from my perspective.
But you think Vivek, just the media hates him too much? They're gonna try and stop him and make him look like a bad guy? 'Cause
No, I
he's
think
the
Trump would
best candidate.
automatically and say, hey, Vivek should be the president because Vivek's the only person who said that he would pardon Donald Trump if he would become the president of the United States and didn't hesitate to say that. So I think Vivek might have a path here with how tumultuous and crazy the situation could get here. As of course, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm rooting for Vivek if I can't run and I can't be the president of the United States. Tucker too, yeah.
Tucker could be VP.
Well, Tucker always made these kind of statements saying, I don't want to be a politician, but it's always the people who don't want to be the politicians that should be the politicians. So he always has a way of kind of saying these things and making people understand that there is a sense of duty and responsibility when it comes to public office that he understands, even though he says he doesn't want it, but then he describes people who don't want it as the people who should be there. So duplicitous messages, and this is why Tucker Carlson 2024. I got the T-shirt. I'm going to sell a lot more of them if this becomes the case. But it's not just about the T-shirt; it's about the future of this country that is in a very dangerous situation right now.
It's really funny because, okay, so if Joe Biden gets impeached, Kamala Harris will take over, but she will likely say, "I'm not going to run." She's probably going to in the event Biden is impeached and convicted, removed, Kamala becomes acting president and says, "I'm not going to spend the 1 year I have to help the American people campaigning." And then she's going to say, the Democrats will have a process to determine who the nominee shall be, and I will protect the office and this country for the remainder of this term. Then she bows out. Then Newsom steps in, and it's going to be, Newsom and who do you think his VP is going to be?
Lucifer?
I don't know.
Satan?
What if it's Newsom Haley versus like DeSantis?
Newsom, Michelle Obama?
Maybe.
Right?
It would be
But-
interesting to see people
so-
from multiple parties come together to one party.
Here's right.
That's the same party, Newsom and Haley.
Exactly.
So that wouldn't
Yeah.
count.
Chris Christie. And this is why I think it's really, really funny. A year or two ago, we're all like, impeach what the Bidens have been doing for years. And now we're close to the election. We're like, no.
Keep him there.
Let the people decide.
I think
Everything's fine.
Call your congressman and say no impeachment. We want Biden to stay.
I feel like if Biden stays, he'll win again. Just
How?
because of the way the system works. Unfortunately, I don't like the way the media can propel people to vote a certain way just by convincing them. It's very, 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 very powerful.
Hey, Elon Musk has actually had a huge change on what the next election will be based on Twitter, now X. So they were able to censor so much that just never could make it through on the old Twitter that won't happen this time. And I've said this multiple times. Like, as an example, our beer company would not exist without Elon Musk. Reason being, we would never have been allowed to go viral to the level that we did anywhere other than an Elon Musk owned Twitter. You can look at what we did on other platforms, hardly anything. Yet on Twitter, we have almost 50 million views. Yet magically on Facebook, Instagram, and all those places, you maybe get 1 million, if even that.
Yeah. If we had real free speech, if we had the ability to actually talk to each other without algorithms and censorship efforts, Donald Trump would have been the president of the United States right now. He would have not lost. But it's because of the censorship. It's because of the manipulation, because of the fortifying, why essentially Joe Biden was allowed to be where he is right now, because he was able to censor stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story from the general public, which we know played a major impact on the election. So free speech is important here, and I think this is why there's so many attacks on Elon Musk trying to destroy him, trying to take down Twitter, because if you take down Twitter, you could essentially fortify all the elections in the future.
Did you see NBC News' breaking story? I just love this. They wrote an article and it said the Tesla's new Cybertruck, weighing in at 6,800 pounds, could be lethal in collisions with pedestrians and smaller cars, experts warn. And I was like, wow. Don't get hit by truck, breaking news. But this is how much they're going after Elon Musk. They actually wrote that news story.
Incredible.
The Daily Beast did too, about a recall, about the
Fake news.
software.
Real quick, this pissed me off. It's being reported everywhere. Tesla recalls all vehicles to fix dangerous thing. What it really means is Tesla issues software update, you won't even notice.
I was about to say, you don't even have to go in anywhere to get it, from what I understand. It's just a download through your system.
It's
in
a
the Tesla, right?
but they're calling it a recall.
Oh yeah, no, it's complete
that's
BS. what they're
You're going to wake up and your app's going to be like updated and you go,
Right.
oh, whatever.
I want to do a soft correction of what you said about Joe Biden censoring the Hunter thing, because I don't think there's evidence that he did it directly. It was just that I think there's evidence the FBI was
I
involved.
might have
with
misspoke
Twitter.
then, but it was the intelligence.
And it was before he was president.
Censored this, but the establishment.
You might consider that he was. I don't know if he was directly involved, but it was his son was the one that was under investigation.
You going to vote for Trump, Luke?
Maybe. Possibly. I still want to be one. I still want to be one.
Who are you going to vote for? Who the hell are you going to vote for?
Man, bear, pig.
I want to have this conversation.
Man, bear, pig. There's.
You would go that over Trump.
No. It depends. It depends who's running. I
Biden, Trump. Who do you
I
vote
do
for?
think. Obviously, if I have to, Trump.
Okay.
You don't
That
have to.
shouldn't even be a hard
You don't have to vote for
question.
anybody.
Right.
I'm explaining it.
I had a friend hit me up and he's like, are you seriously, he's like a liberal guy. He's like, are you seriously considering voting for Donald Trump? And I was like, considering. I was like, I'm voting for Donald Trump. And then he was like, why? And he said, all of the bad things Trump has done. And I'm like, I'm not even going to argue with you. Anything you think that Trump will do to this country that is bad, then I think America deserves based on its foreign policy. And Trump's first term was no new wars. And that is what we must do. So my view is this. First of all, economy was great. I think Trump actually did a pretty good job considering the weights tied to his ankles. He did some bad things, but I think it was an overall net positive. If the reality was this country will be in hard times, but no new wars, take it. But the reality is it's going to be better with no new wars. So my argument to the liberal guy is, oh, you agree with the military industrial complex? You want to vote for Biden and have more war in the Middle East, South America, Europe? No. Okay, vote for Trump.
Yeah. I hope he can keep his cool. That's a big
He
part of
kept
it.
his cool his whole term. There was literally no new wars.
He used to,
I mean,
he used to
that's the
tweet
thing.
a lot about like those radical. He would like incite the left-right paradigm.
No, but that's what kept us out of some of the wars.
It's going to depend who his VP is going to be as well. Because if it's someone that's going to be like another Mike Pence, if he's going to be surrounding himself with Henry Kissinger again and John Bolton again and all these other horrible individuals,
if it's Nikki Haley, it wasn't Kissinger.
No,
if it's Nikki Haley, would you not vote for him? You would vote for Biden or sit
Nikki Haley or Biden?
No. If Trump chose Nikki Haley, which I think would be horrific as his VP, would you vote for?
Why vote? Why vote at all then?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay, look. I will promise you this.
Then that's a vote for Biden.
If Donald Trump draws a gigantic pentagram on the ground in a black robe and summons the zombie corpse of Kissinger, I also will not vote for him. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.